Right, now in this video I'm going to talk about um, God, but in regards to evidence. So this video really appeals more to the atheist or the agnostic. Now, in my previous videos, I've asked the question: if you, how would I say? Well, basically, I asked, what do you like about the God of the Bible, and what don't you like about the God of the Bible? Now, that was just based upon just the understanding of his character, and the majority of the answers that I got were not even biblical, and most of them were just for someone looking from the outside in kind of answers. So people think that God burns people forever and ever 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 in hell and ever. But if you study the Bible, then you obviously see that that's not the case. Again, a lot of things happen in regards to people thinking that God committed genocide by destroying the Amalekites. But if you actually study through that context as to why God did that, then it will make a whole load of sense. And if you want me to explain that, then I'll be happy to explain that. Also, you have other things like slavery, like God promoted slavery. And in regards to that, again, if from what I've understood, is that, again, from somebody looking from the outside in, when they hear certain key words like slavery, they automatically think of what happened in the earlier periods with like what happened to the black people. They got whipped, all these kind of animosities, and also like you probably think of what happened in Egypt with all the all the Israelites taken under Egyptian bondage. All these things probably just start popping to mind. But if you see, or if you study to see how God treated them, it was not in a sense to say slavery as in how we see it today or how we saw it in the olden times. But it is actually a different context. Like people in those days, the word slave is not in the sense to say that they did what the Egyptians did, but it's like if somebody was a servant or somebody was a hired servant. They could be hired as a slave to pay off their debt or whatever the case may be. But you just need to look at the context for that. But now I just want to ask something in generalizing the point about God's existence and the evidence behind it. Now, a lot of people obviously have said that, which is fair what they said, which in regards to the evidence of God, they say they don't. It's not that they don't believe in God; it's just that there's not enough evidence for Him. Now, my question is simply this: what evidence are you looking for in regards to the existence of God? So, what evidence are you looking for exactly? Because if you're looking for things like based upon eyesight, then obviously that's a good reason. But the evidence that you're looking for, is that something that's going to change you? If you understand what I mean. So what I'm basically asking in the general sense is that in the Bible, Peter had the opportunity to see Jesus in his full express glory, and then afterwards, that didn't really change his heart. He only just saw a manifestation. And so, in regards to evidence, God is trying to do more than just show that He's there. He wants to actually, His main purpose, His main aim is to change your heart. To change your heart from sin to righteousness. So that's something that God is trying to show. And if you're looking for evidence in just the eyesight, then you can see plenty of examples in the Bible where people had witnessed Jesus, but their heart never changed. Now, I'm just going to read this verse because this is something that this is something that God puts Himself on the line in regards to His evidence. Now, it's taken from, I think it's Second Peter. Second Peter chapter 1, verse. Sorry, 1 minute. Second Peter chapter 1. Yeah, Second Peter chapter 1, verse 19. This is what it says. It says, "We have also a more sure word of prophecy, whereunto ye do well that ye take heed, as unto a light that shineth in a dark place, until the day dawn, and the day star arise in your hearts." Okay, so this is what prophecy does. It actually changes your heart, even to the point where it says, "Until the day dawn and the day star arise in your hearts." Now, who is the day star? Right, Revelation chapter 22, verse 16, it says, I, Jesus, have sent mine angel to testify unto you these things in the churches. I am the root and the offspring of David, and the bright and morning star. So prophecy doesn't only change your heart, but it actually changes. It's evidence in itself that when Christ is in your heart, then you see that change. I mean, I for myself, when I look back on my experience of life, and I see how the gospel has changed my life, I can't explain how I used to do things and automatically I hate doing those things. I can't explain that. That is something that in itself is evidence. But God puts himself on the line even further. This is what he says. It's taken from Isaiah chapter 46, verse 10. Rather, I read from verse 9. This is what it says. It says, "Remember the former things of old, for I am God, and there is none else. I am God, and there is none like me." Now, this is what he says. He says, "Declaring the end from the beginning, and from ancient times the things that are not yet done, saying, my counsel shall stand, and I will do all my pleasures." So what God is saying is that he's put himself on the line, and in order for him to show that he is the true God, or rather the existence of God is there, he's putting himself on the line by saying, I am God, and I'll show you I am God. I declare the end from the beginning. So the evidence that God is putting forward is prophecy. Now, based upon what we studied in regards to Bible prophecy, we are literally at the end, literally near the end. I'm not talking about what happened in October 23rd. That's another thing. But what I'm talking about specifically is that God says, I am God, and in order for me to show that I am God, I'm going to prove that I am God, and I'm going to show you. And this is by prophecy. Again, Jesus said the same thing as well. I'll just show you that quickly, and then I'm just going to come to some closing points. John chapter 14, verse 29. This is what Jesus says. He says, let me go down. Okay, John chapter 14, verse 29, it says, "And now I have told you before it comes to pass, that when it comes to pass, ye might believe." So Jesus is not saying just believe in me or have faith, blind faith, faith without no foundation. Jesus is saying, I've said what's going to happen, so when it does happen, you can know that you can have faith in me. So when we see things come to pass that are actually proven from the Bible, and when we see those things displayed even today, that's proof in itself that God is true. Because he's put himself on the line by saying this is what's going to happen, and it does happen. Now, I'm going to say this bluntly. And if you want to ask me why, then you can ask me. But I'm going to say this bluntly. There's going to come a time when there's not going to be no more atheists on this planet. Now, you can ask me what I mean by that, but based upon what I've seen in the Bible, there's not going to be one single atheist on this planet. Because there's something coming to this earth, and you may want... I don't know if you're genuine enough to want to ask me, then I'll be able to answer you. But not in the sense to say that all atheists will be wiped out. That's crazy. I'm talking about in regards to belief. Because your faith is that you believe we came from a Big Bang. Our faith is that we believe we came from a designer. But I'm saying it quite bluntly, but if you want to ask me, then just ask me now, explain why I believe so. But that's pretty much what God has done for himself. He's put himself on the line, and he said that if you want to know who the true God is, then prophecy is something that will help you in that area. The evidence is there, which is prophecy. And if you want to know some prophetic things that have happened, which are coming to pass, and everything is from the Bible, there's no kind of theories, no here and there. I know, like, for example, the mark of the beast, they say it's on, like, this computer chip. I think it's a RFDI, or you may have heard of it before, but it's a microchip. That's something that's not in the Bible. But if you want to know evidence, and if you're genuinely wanting to know evidence, rather genuinely wanting to know evidence, then I'll be more than willing to show you some evidence. But God's main purpose is that he wants the heart to be changed, not just for evidence in the eyes, because that doesn't do anything for your heart. So, and the example that I gave from the beginning is Peter. Peter saw Jesus in his express glory, and then a few verses later, Jesus is saying, "Get behind me, Satan." Okay, so that's what I just want to mention. That's what I want to talk about. And again, if you have any um, comments or any concerns or any questions for that matter, then please just leave them, send them away. But I'm going to say this: I'm only going to answer genuine people's questions, because I know a lot of atheists like to mock around, but I'm not classing that for every single atheist out there. I know there's genuine decent people out there, and I'm not saying that to kind of class off atheists, because I know there's a lot of Christians that are pretty much doing the same thing, like mocking around and such. But I'm only here for genuine people who really genuinely want to know. So that's what I want to mention, and yep, I look forward to hearing what you have to say. And if you want the evidence, God has already put himself on the line by showing prophetic things that are going to come to pass. And if you want to know more about those prophetic things, then just let me know and I'll see what I can do. Okay, thanks a lot, and thanks for listening. God bless.